Welcome to the Black Box App Podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth Johnson, president of the diversity recruitment firm East Coast Executives, developer of the Black Box App, a career consciousness portal for Black men. I'm here today with someone I consider a friend, someone that always shows up, just even on personal stuff, but just community stuff, and always willing to give back. I'm here with Rob Barea. Rob, what's going on, my friend?
Always a pleasure to see you, brother.
Listen, man, I'm so excited. I know we've been trying to put this together. I was actually going to hold off. I probably should have mentioned this to you. And know what? We'll do it again. You will be my first two-time guest to the Black Box App Podcast, because we're going to start doing this live from a location here in Harlem. So it only makes sense.
Absolutely. Anything that got to deal with Harlem, I'm there.
So I say that because Rob Rob was born and raised in the village of Harlem. No.
I was born in Germany. I was an army brat.
I'm sorry. That is right.
Yep.
You told me that one night. You told me that you were actually born out of the country. Yeah. So you know what? That probably leads us right where we need to go. If you don't mind, let's just take a walk through your career journey, right? And kind of, when I say career journey, like you made some decisions in high school about what it was that you wanted to do and be. So let's start there and walk us to where you're at now in your current role.
Sure, I appreciate that. So Robert Barea, right now, I am a vice president with Prudential. I lead their culture, diversity, and engagement for the entire firm, which is one of my goals that I set when I left the military. But, when to share where I started, I actually started in the military when I was 19 years old, joined the military. I'm from Harlem originally. Was raised there, and again during the time that was, it was the early '90s. There wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for me because I wasn't really thinking about, corporate and the like. So I was engaged at the time. I married my high school sweetheart, so we had to figure out how to make things happen, and the military was the actual right answer for me. So I joined the military at 19, and I stayed there and did a whole lot of great things, and more importantly, had accomplished many things over the course of 24 and a half years. And then when I was getting out or preparing to get out, I was like, what am I going to do when I grow up? Because in the military, you come to work, you do a good job, they have a lot of opportunities, a lot of things to kind of help you improve yourself. But at the end of the day, my body couldn't take it anymore. Just being that physical, I was breaking down, between knees, backs, hips, and the like. And it became a young person's game and not necessarily someone who was older like me. But I leveraged my last 2.5 years in the military to really understand what and position myself of what I want to be when I got out of the military. And again, I didn't have a clear direction as to where I wanted to go, but I knew I didn't want to be in sales. And I knew I wanted to make a difference and continue to serve in that capacity. So I just was getting my graduate degree, got that out the way, got my MBA out the way, got my project management professional certification. Because what I Googled is like, what certifications will get you, $130,000, $140,000 a year. Being from the New York City area, I knew that I'll get the most out of that cost of living. And I decided to do that, which was in alignment with what I was doing anyway within the military. In addition to that, I also was able to go after my Lean Six Sigma black belt, which I got through the military as well, which is, again, a process improvement certification. So I was trying to build up specific business skills so that I can leverage my leadership skills in the military, as well as be somewhat valuable to a potential employer. And again, maybe just not knowing what I'm doing, they say that God takes care of babies and fools. I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I ended up with 3 very attractive offers from 3 Fortune 500 companies, which, again, I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought I was just trying to get a job. But I found out later that that was actually a huge achievement just coming out of the military, because most of our military veterans that transition don't have that kind of success early on. So fast forward, I'm in this role. And again, I'm trying to just be a good people project manager, again, leveraging my leadership skills, leveraging my project manager certification. But I kind of gravitated toward the DEI space, diversity, equity, inclusion space, which I was doing in the military as part of my role within the Army National Guard in New Jersey. So again, just being in a space where I can fight all the time. I don't win a lot, but I can fight all the time for someone else. I can serve a bigger purpose, and more importantly, make a difference for the lives of the individuals within the organizations. it kind of not only attracted me, but this is what I wanted to do. So I found my niche without, again, looking for it specifically. It just kind of landed in my lap, so to speak. And that happens to be around a good set of mentors, a good set of leaders, and more importantly, opportunities start to be in abundance. So I went from, again, that first company, which was Marsh McLennan Companies, and then I got moved over to KPMG, which, again, a very reputable firm. I didn't know what the Big Four was before I got in the military, and but I obviously, being in corporate, I kind of found out. I was able to be part of their transformational project in their business resource groups, helping them be more collaborative and, more importantly, in alignment with the overall strategy within the organization. Met some great individuals there, some great mentors, but again, there was something that I actually wanted to be a little bit bigger with. And again, not that they didn't offer that opportunity there, but Prudential, again, had that opportunity where I can come in, leverage my expertise, but also lead a larger team, which again is where I am today. So I wish I had a blueprint when I first started, but I think if I had one, I wouldn't be on the path I went today. And what I've learned from my millennial generation is you have to kind of keep abreast of what's happening within not only organization, but industry, and be able to be comfortable moving almost laterally to get closer to where you want. And I think I adopted that process, and that's why I'm here today.
Man, I love that. I love that feedback, and I love that advice. Just kind of listening to it, I'm like, man, and I don't even know how to say this. You kind of like over-indexed on education, certifications, things of that nature, right? And I'm noticing a trend, and there's something that we have going on here at Black Box. We're partnering through with an organization that's probably going to allow us to bring a substantial amount of certification opportunities, scholarships to our population. But it seems like you've benefited from some of that PMP, Six Sigma, Black, all of those certifications seem to have served you well, not only in practice, but just in kind of expanding what it is that you see out here as far as opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, and I would add, those certifications only amplify your ability to make things happen. And at the end of the day, what I've learned, not only in my military career, but most important in corporate, is that if you can execute, your value is off the charts, right? If someone knows that you can make things happen and execute and work within the team and build those partnerships, you will never be without work, because people will continually rely on you in order to actually, again, do what the organization needs and deliver in a way that makes them successful as well, which again, I think we want to talk a little bit about, some career advice. I think, if I had to talk to my younger self, and again, I started in the military, but my younger self within corporate, it's really about, how do you establish your brand immediately, right? And how do you build upon your brand starting on an organization and strengthen those relationships? And I tell you, man, when it comes to, who I am and what I am, I live by my brand. When I was in the military, I had my brand was my rank, right? So when I was a warrant officer when I retired, and warrant officers were considered technical and tactical experts, and they pretty much commanded attention and respect when you enter the room, not just from the enlisted personnel, but also from the senior officers, because they relied on warrant officers to actually understand what needs to happen and be technically sound in order to actually make it happen. So that was my brand without even opening my mouth. In corporate, there is no rank, so you figure that out. So you have to use your name recognition. And there's a great, I just had a recent experience, not with me, but with a fellow team member here at Pru. We were in this project, and more importantly, it just had like a circular reference. We just wasn't making any type of movement or momentum. But we brought her onto the team, and immediately everyone said, "Oh, I won't say her name, but she's here. We're good. We're going to make this happen," because what she had and her reputation, and more importantly, her brand, it really did give everyone that firm understanding that this will happen now better because I'm a part of it. And that's the kind of brand and more and the reputation you need to have in your organizations, because if not, then why are they even including you?
Sure.
Right? So if you can't bring something to the table, if you don't have a value that is understood before you enter the room, you might want to work on that brand, because again, that's what's going to not only get you into the room, but more importantly, accelerate your career.
Know what? This is an interesting slant to the conversation, because I recall when I initially met you, and you had came uptown, you were in Harlem on 125th doing a mock interview and resume review workshop with us. And I recall you speaking to someone, but you kept kind of pushing them to be better at telling their story, right, on the resume, sharing where they add value. And then you speak of this, and I really appreciated that, because I'm coming from the lens of a recruiter, right? Yeah, we see what's on the resume, but a big piece as a third-party recruiter, when I send people to hiring managers, I have to make sure they can understand and know how to articulate their value. And it seems like that's a continuous process as you navigate an organization. Am I reading that right?
Absolutely. And your brand is never done building, right? Because it should also evolve as you evolve, right? So my brand, when I first got into the organization, will be much different how I want to, I don't leave it, but again, build within the organization. Because again, it's, if you just think about your favorite item, right? They haven't been the same the entire time they've been in existence. In fact, if they're a newer item or newer product, they continually change, right? And in these days, and especially within business, things are changing rapidly, and you have to always stay abreast and, one point, stay fluid.
Right.
And again, bringing that value, understanding how your brand is being perceived, and also how do you have to elevate that brand, and what else you have to add to that. And sometimes as simple as at the end of a project, what have you, just asking for direct feedback. What could I have done better, right? Not only do you understand how to be better, but you also understand what you're doing well, right? And then you continue to build upon that and make sure that that's a good foundation for how you work.
Exceptional, exceptional. It's the Black Box App podcast. Kenneth Johnson, Robert Barea. Listen, we're here. I want to speak to you about this. So I know we've talked in the past. You have a passion for supporting others, especially other men, Black and brown men that are trying to just navigate and find their way out here in the space. So as a professional, and not necessarily, we've had conversations where it doesn't have to be corporate jobs per se, just people getting sound opportunities for sustainable income, right? So what advice do you have? We created the Black Box App podcast, the Black Box app, to really cater to entry-level, mid-career, and senior-level individuals that are just seeking career opportunities and advice and resources. What advice do you have for people that are entry-level in their career?
So for entry-level career, again, I'll go back to the brand discussion, but also definitely understand what brand you want to have, right? Because again, as starting on a career, you probably haven't thought fully about how do you want to show up in the room. So start to build that, and absolutely find mentors that can help you with that brand. In addition to just mentors, just making relationships. The way that business happens now is, and it always has been, but we haven't really talked about it in that way. But right now, the only way you can really truly be successful in business is through strong relationships. And if you come into an organization early in your career, and you're not making connections within that organization, and the way people move around these days, often instead of being in an organization from 5 or 7 or 10 years, it's like a 3 to 5 year stint. So, and if you're not really establishing the relationships early with individuals within your own organization, as those individuals move not only throughout the organization, but also outside the organization, it can only add benefit to you as to what the possibilities are. So I always say, the secret to success is having options, right? Because you have to be able to go from one place to the other when something doesn't work. And the really, truly simple way is to make sure that you have strong relationships and keep in touch with them, which is somewhat challenging. I mean, you and I had met over 4 years ago. And yes, we keep in touch, but you have to be deliberate in staying in touch with people, because you never know what that next opportunity will be. And if you're not top of mind for that individual, guess what? You're not going to get the call, right? So I think, again, besides just making sure that your brand is always being built, and more importantly, you're adding to that and ensuring your reputation precedes you. In addition to that, really developing strong relationships, both internal and external to your organization, because the way business happens now, it's only through relationships.
Gotcha. All right. So you're building your brand and you're doing a good job. You have some pretty sound relationships, and now 5 years pass and you're kind of mid-level in your career. What are the steps we need to take at that point in our career?
Well, so now you're in leadership roles, right? And I think what I learned, and I will always bring this from my military days, is learn how to lead laterally and lead up. If you don't know how to lead laterally, which is where you really make the influence of have influence in the organization, leading your peers, right? Building followership, people that don't report to you, is truly a critical skill that you must make sure that you kind of develop, and more importantly, hone in on, because that's how, again, things happen, and that's also support your brand. But then again, also too, is you have to be able to lead up. And most senior leaders, especially senior leaders, don't have a lot of time to know about everything. So how you share information, how you clear out obstacles before you ask a question. Do you know what's important to your leader, and what are you doing about it, right? Because if it's important to your leader and you're not helping them, but guess what? You're not of value to them. So again, leading laterally, which is very challenging to do. And in the military, we do that all the time because when we go to these leadership classes, we're with our peers. We're competing against our peers to learn how to be better leaders. So again, I don't know how you can do that within corporate. However, there is a way to do that, and it's really through those relationships. And then the second piece, again, is leading up. There's actually a book called 360-Degree Leadership, which I think it has that full circle of how to lead, not just down, which is probably the simplest of the three. Leading laterally is the most challenging, but the most important is leading up, because again, as you take care of your leader and take care of the organization, most likely they're going to take care of you. But there's always some challenges of that as well, which I'm sure you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah, of course, right. All right, so we're leading lateral, we're leading up. We have mentors, we have some people sponsoring us, maybe in the C-suite, or at least, up above the areas where we kind of exist. And we finally receive an opportunity to represent at the senior levels of our organization. As we kind of navigate that space, and I'm sure it's really hard because oftentimes we're peerless at some level. You understand what I'm saying? Oftentimes we look around the room and we're the ones responsible for pushing certain agendas, although they should be corporate-wide initiatives. However, what do we need to be doing as senior level executives to ensure that we're having impact, not just in our role, but throughout the organization?
There's a loaded question there, Kenneth, and again, an important one. So, I'm gonna go a different route with this, and you're probably not gonna, you probably didn't see this coming. I heard in my infancy within my corporate career, I went to a lot of conferences, what have you, and there was this one CEO at this Alpha convention for the Association of Latin Professionals in Finance Community. They asked him a similar question, and he answered this. He said, "Have walkaway money." I'm gonna say it again. Have walkaway money. Because what he said was, you're going to get to a point in your career where you are the only one in the room. You're all the only one that has to drive a particular initiative. You are the only one that's going to really make that impact with organization. And because, it's such, it's very highly political, you have to determine if you're going to stay true to your own values, or you're going to adopt some values or massage your values to meet the organization. And there's going to be times where you have to almost have this inner conflict, and you almost think that you're sacrificing your own values and your own principles. And you never want to be in that position, because once you start down that path, you're no longer who you are. And guess what? You definitely won't receive the success that you believe that you need to have. So get to a position, especially if you've been working at this for a while, right? Make sure you save that money, have some walkaway money, because there's going to be a time when you're going to have to say, I'm not going to do this because it's against who I am, what my principles are, and more importantly, my leadership style, right? But now that you have it, what it really does, it empowers you to be your true self, to be an authentic leader. When you don't have that power, now mind you, I'm not going to go tap into that money anytime soon, right? But I have it there just in case. So now I have something else I can fight for, right? I can fight for my authenticity. I can fight for the people that I believe that I'm trying to make an impact for. And if they don't agree with it, and if they want to move me out the way because of it, I have something that's going to have a safety net so that I can continue on. Because sometimes we only think about the math and the math formula of what we do and what we're going to lose. And if that's always this case, guess what? It's the money that's driving you, not your heart, and not what you believe to be true. So I can say, have walkaway money, which again was some of the best advice I've ever heard in a very short period of time, so that you can truly be who you are, be authentic to your principles, your values, never having to compromise them. And more importantly, you have a safety net so that you could be confident in doing so.
Man, I'm so glad you shared that. You are correct. It's a pivot away from where I thought you were going to go, but I love it because so there was a point in my entrepreneurship journey where I had to live it, right? Listen, we're a third-party recruitment firm here at East Coast Executives. Companies come to us when they're looking to add diverse talent to their recruitment pipelines. Sometimes all of those companies aren't genuine in what it is that they want us to do. So can we look somebody in the face and see all the warts and say, we're not willing to date you. We can't do this with you. You're not ready yet. There's some things that we can help you do to get where we feel comfortable. introducing talent to your organization, but I'm not going to take someone from a great job and position them in a place where they're going to fail based on what you're sharing with me. So I get it. I get that piece of the discussion. Thank you so very much for sharing that with us. All right, but look, this is kind of a question that I want to ask you because I get it from so many people right now. So in the past 2 years, people have called us consistently looking for opportunities in the space that you're in, the DEI, DEIB space. And they're like, look, how can I get in? What is it that I need to do to cut my teeth in that industry? What are you telling people? Because I know you're getting it also.
Yeah, there's no shortage of reach out via LinkedIn or my personal network on how can I break into the DEI space. First, I got to say it's not for everyone, right? And also, just being from an underrepresented group, Black, white, Black, Hispanic, gender, LGBTQ, does not qualify you to be a DEI practitioner, okay? Now, mind you, you have lived experiences. There's something you can share, but again, that does not only qualify you to be a DEI practitioner. We are highly skilled at influencing and change management, right? So if you don't have those particular skills along with the understanding of not just your lived experience, but the many different experiences, not just within your interaction with your own community, but across the entire board. So if you think about, race, right? Not just Black, Hispanic, and Asian, but also Native American, right? Because again, we think about the history of this country, right? This within corporate, I think the Native American data point is maybe less than 2%, but then they're the ones that were in this country before we even got here, right? So just think about again how that experience for all of our people of color, all of our women and mostly in men, as well as LGBTQ, people with disabilities, veterans and the like. You have to have that full understanding and be able to support all of them equally instead of just what your particular cause is because of your lived. Now, mind you, I bring all of my lived experience to my work every day, right? And again, there's a lot of pain in there, but there's a lot of promise in there at the same time. And again, what I share with people who want to join is, one is, can you lose and lose often and still come to work every day with passion? If you don't know how to lose and take that and learn from it, as well as, still have that fuel you instead of defeat you, you might not want to be a DEI practitioner, right? And second is, can you be as passionate about a group that you don't have a direct connection with? Because if you can't, then there will always be a bias internally within you, and there will be an even application of those skills I mentioned before. But I would tell you, when the win happens, the win is so sweet, and most of them are very small, right? But when you win and you have someone that was a staunch opposer, like, I'm tired of sensitivity training, why does this have to do this? We're in America, this is not, no, this is exactly why we have to do this, because if you're thinking about, well, I'm colorblind, which we always love to hear, or you're colorblind, which means you don't see me for who I am. You don't see my identity. You don't see what makes me me, and more importantly, how I bring that to my job every day, and more importantly, support the organizational strategy, right? So those are the things that you have to deal with constantly. But again, if you're not built for that, if you don't know how to lose with grace, and more importantly, have perseverance and resilience, this probably is not the role for you. I mostly try to talk them out of it just to see if they're truly committed, because once I know that they're committed, then I can actually help them. Because we absolutely need people to come into this. If you think about right after the murder of George Floyd, how many chief diversity officers just happened to pop up, right? And again, they popped up, but guess what? They popped up with no teams. There's just one individual. What can one individual do in an organization that didn't get it before, and all of a sudden now they're quote unquote woke? So again, there's a lot of things that have to deal with being in this space. Now, mind you, I love my job. I love the work I do. I love the people I work with. I love engaging with people who are equally passionate about just everything that's going to make an organization better, improve the experience of our employees. But it does take a specific skill set, and just being a person of color, just being a person from an underrepresented group is far from what you need in order to actually excel.
Man, I appreciate the transparency. Robert Barea, Black Box App Podcast. Hey, listen, before we close out, why do you believe an app like Black Box is necessary in the space today?
Well, listen, there's so many lessons out there that we have not heard from. There's so many points of view that we have. Now, mind you, there may be 80% similarities, right? If you and I compared notes over the course of our lives, we'll have a lot of similarities. But those differences between the two of us only elevates our own profile and our own knowledge. So an app like this, to get more perspective and more importantly, hear that something different to add to your toolbox is why this type of application, Black Box, and others like this are really truly important for us to kind of leverage.
You know, there are no others like this, man. This is what we do. We got the market locked. And look, please share with my audience how they can stay connected to the work you do and just you in general.
Yes, you can have me on LinkedIn. I'm probably one of the only two Robert Bareas on that platform. Feel free to connect me over on LinkedIn, and then we can connect. And more importantly, I can share whatever. Listen, every time I do one of these things, Kenneth, and actually the last time I worked with you on this, I had about 5 hits, and I connected with 3 of them, and actually 2 of them actually got a role within DEI. So I want to thank you for helping the industry, because again, through your platforms, right, we are able to meet other people, and people kind of reach out and more importantly, take action. So again, this is why Black Box is important, not just to hear, but also to connect and more importantly, move things forward. So those type of things are definitely available. And again, I'm totally available to talk with anyone through via LinkedIn, and we can connect through there.
And that made me feel good. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you, my friend. Look, I'm going to put you on that. We got to get on like a quarterly conversation schedule, man. Every time I just listen to you speak and share and talk with you, I always leave it with some gems. So once again, thank you for the support. It's been unwavering, my friend. I really, really appreciate you.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
Take care.
All right.